Hey everyone, in this video tutorial I'm going to show you how to do some mixing of digital paint on the screen. So this is kind of what we're doing here. It might not be as pretty as that, but that's essentially the digital equivalent of what we're doing. We're taking one or two or more different colors, we need more than one of course, and mixing it around digitally. Alright, let's go ahead and clear that out of there. Alright, so we are using Pixlr since it is a nice free online in a web browser program. And we're going to go ahead and choose Advanced Pixlr E, and we're going to get our screen up here. And for this example, I'm going to go ahead and just do Create New, and I'm going to go ahead and just do Full HD. And I'm going to add a background, so that's over here, add a background. And I think I'm going to go ahead and add in, we'll make it a kind of a middle gray color. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go do it with a slight blue. There we go. Because I'm going to be working in grayscale values, I want you to be able to see the middle colors that I use and things like that. So, okay, you'll see that my keyboard shortcuts should be showing up down at the bottom of the screen, so hopefully that helps you out. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just add a new empty layer, and there it is there. And I'm going to pick black. Alright, so for my brush, I'm going to do a soft edge brush. I find that learning to do this at the start is easier with a soft edge brush because the edges blend better together. And then the hard edge brush is more complex, but it gives a little bit more of like a painterly look, which I really like, but it is more challenging, like I said. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to just check my settings. My opacity is at 100%, and I'm just going to go ahead and block in a little bit of pure black. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and notice that my two colors are the default black and white. White is my secondary color. If I press the letter X on the keyboard, it switches between the two. So that way you don't have to change colors. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and block in some white. Alright, let me zoom in. Alright, so here's how it works. I want to make a middle value here, and it's obviously a combination of the two. So I'm going to press I, and I'm going to sample the white color, then go back to B for my brush. So you'll see that I'm going between I and B quite a bit. In other programs like Photoshop, you can just hold down the Option key or the Alt key, and that's really nice to do a temporary one. I don't think that Pixlr has an equivalent of that. It's just the letter I. So alright, so I'm going to go ahead and block in my white. Something like that. Alright, then I'll press I and I'll sample the black. Now, Pixlr, as far as I know, does not have any pressure sensitivity. I am on a really nice drawing tablet, so I have pressure sensitivity, but it doesn't have it. At least I don't think it recognizes a tablet. So the way that we have to do it, sort of the hack here, is we have to come up here to opacity. And I'm going to recommend that you go below 50%. I'm going to go about 25%. I'm just going to come out here, and I'm just going to very lightly brush in some of the black. Okay, and you can play around with it if you think you're getting too much, too little. And you just have to look for it, and you have to look for what you think is going to be about the halfway point between these two values. And so then I'll press I, and I'll go ahead and I'll sample it. Then I'll press B, and I'll go back in, and now I'll brush it back in. Now when you're brushing it back in, that's when you're probably going to want to bring the opacity back up to about 50% or higher, and you can go ahead and you can go in and you can block that new color in. And this does take some getting used to. You got to train your eye, you got to train your brain. Now if I think that it's too dark, I can always tint it and make it a little brighter. Or I can also tone it and make it a little darker if I think it's too dark. So real simple, just like a traditional painter, you would press I. If I think this is too light, I'm going to press I, I'm going to grab some of the black, press B, lower my opacity again, and just brush in a little bit more. Maybe a little bit lighter. Go in there. Then I to sample, grab that new color. B to get the brush back, change the opacity back, and now I can go ahead and I can get that darker value. And there you go. Now I know for those of you that are maybe more beginners, you might just say, why don't I just come over here to the color picker and just go up and down the value scale over here? Yeah, you can do that, and there are definitely times when you want to do that. There are times, though, when you want to do this kind of on-screen mixing. It just feels more natural. Sometimes it does feel maybe not like the fastest option because you are having to go back and forth and back and forth. There is a little bit of trial and error there. But as a digital artist, it feels more like being a traditional artist. I get to put in a dab of paint, and then I get to mix it around a little bit. So there is that greater connection to the media. And so I do like it for that. So give it a shot. This technique works in every single paint app ever. A lot of professional Photoshop artists use this technique, and it's been around forever. So you don't necessarily have to have a blending brush or a smudge brush to do it. And it's just a really good foundational skill to have. So I hope this helped you out, and I'll see you next time.